He's not listening to us.
Probably, yes. Saloni, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Mr. Yes. So, good morning, sir. It really gives me immense pleasure to be welcoming you all for the webinar on a very pertinent topic organized by the organizing committee coordinated by our librarian Sri Avinash Salunke sir. It goes without saying that methodology is as important as the am I audible, Saloni,
Yeah,
properly?
you are audible.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. So I have special words of appreciation for our coordinator, Salunke sir, for organizing this webinar on a very pertinent topic. The methodology is to the objectives of research, and if we lack the knowledge of choosing exact methodology and proper tools for research, the output of research is going to be flawed. So certainly the proper knowledge of methodology, understanding of the tools and techniques is important. And as participants of today's webinar are mostly the postgraduate students who will be required to complete dissertation work and take up research at a later stage, different types of research, policy research, research for academic purpose, applied research. Even if all law graduates are uh, not going to do academic research, still they are going to do applied research. They will be required to do applied research while they practice in law courts. So this webinar, I am sure uh, our all participants will be indeed benefited by the by this webinar, and I in fact thank Dr. V. Gopakumar sir for sparing his valuable time and uh, uh, indeed our students will be benefited from your delivery. I once again welcome you, sir, and extend a warm welcome and express my
Thank you.
sincere gratitude on behalf of our institution for having accepted our invitation and spared valuable time to guide our participants and students. So look forward to meaningful dialogue in this webinar. I'll also be there. Kindly excuse me if I'll have to uh, leave in between as I have to attend to some administrative commitments also. But I once again thank you, sir, and welcome you
Thank you.
on behalf of our institution. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, Saloni, please.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome, Gopakumar V. sir. Uh, as Saudi sir has mentioned, we are utterly grateful for your presence here today as a resource person. I welcome all the participants to the meeting as well. Um, before we before we continue with the meeting today, I would like all the participants to please mute their microphones and their video cameras. All the participants are requested to wait till the end of the webinar and submit the feedback forms as well. Now, like our principal has rightly mentioned that research is an essential in any part of education or any part of profession that we deal with. Research is an outcome of a keen and curious mind, which leads to betterment and achievement of a certain goal. Research is the medium through which progress takes place. It is a continuous process of learning, experimenting, moving forward by asking the right questions. And in terms of legal research, it is a scientific approach to studying law. and it can be used by various legal professions, no matter which area of the profession they are in. It can be used by an advocate, an academician, a judge, and the likes. As sir rightly mentioned that if not going ahead with the properly conducted research, we as an advocate, we do need, require applied research in our day-to-day life dealing as a lawyer. Legal research is a basic tool of an advocate in terms of arguments, case studies, client management. And while the importance of legal research can be seen highlighted in the academics area, the other parts of the legal professions cannot go without legal research as the basic foundation. So with this, I'd like to welcome the host, resource person of the webinar today, Dr. Gopakumar V. Sir, who is the director of the Knowledge Resource Center, Digital University, Kerala. A very warm welcome to you today, sir. I'd like
Thank
to I'd like to ask our coordinator, Avinash Sawanki, sir, to give us an introduction of the resource person today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Saloni. On the behalf of NSOT Law College, I would like to welcome Dr. Gopakumar sir. First of all, thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation. Dr. Gopakumar sir, he has a huge experience in the field of library and information science, especially digitization in the library and information science. The last week when I called Dr. Gopakumar sir and I expressed my thoughts regarding the webinar in front of him, I have a plan to arrange such types of webinar, and such types of themes. Within a minute, he told me, Mr. Sawanki, I'm ready to deliver my thoughts to your college students. And that's the flexibility and dedication towards the profession I learned from your end, sir. So, Dr. Gopakumar sir, Dr. Gopakumar V. Sir serves as a university librarian and holds the position of Head of Knowledge Center at Digital University of Science, Technology and Innovation, Kerala. Prior to this, he held two esteemed roles of University Librarian and Head of the Department of Library and Information Science, Goa University. Dr. Gopakumar sir has significantly contributed to the academic landscape as a member of the Academic Council and as a chairman of the Board of Studies in Library and Information Science Department at Goa University. With an extensive professional journey spanning 41 years, Dr. Gopakumar has dedicated 26 years of his career to various colleges in Kerala. His educational journey includes a PhD earned from Mangalore University, following his initial academic pursuits with a BSc in Botany and an MLIS Library and Information Science. Dr. Gopakumar sir possesses a wealth of expertise in diverse library-related software and digital content development software. He is well versed in software application pertaining to academia, digital content creation, and data visualization. Notably, he has developed various types of digital content and has conducted classes on digital content development during refreshers courses at UGC, HRDC of several universities. A mentor and guide in the academy, guided 4 scholars to achieve their Doctor of Philosophy degrees. His scholarly contribution, including 27 research articles and the authorship of 3 books. Additionally, he was involved in translation of 2 novels originally written in Kannada by Dr. Shivarama Karanath into Malayalam. Dr. Gopakumar's commitment to knowledge dissemination extends to organizing workshop, refresher courses, and 3 international conferences. That is Caliber 2011, Library Technology Conclave, and ICOL 2018. His multifaceted contribution have left a lasting impact on the fields of librarianship, information science, and academic research. Recently, he was elected to the Director Board of DELNET, that is Developing Library Network. So this is the short biodata of Dr. Gopakumar sir. So due to time constraint, without taking too much time, I would like to request our today's resource person Dr. Gopakumar sir to kindly deliver your keynote lecture. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So thank you for inviting me. I will start with a negative note by Miss Saloni. She was mentioning that the professional advocates are not conducting research. Basically, the work of an advocate is starting with the research only. Every day they have to undertake a research. Without research, they cannot support their arguments. Suppose they wanted to argue something in a court, they have to identify the proper precedent from a researcher, from a law journal, identify the particular judgment or precedent, and then with that support only an advocate goes to the court and presenting his case. So naturally, a lot of research is involved there. May not be that the same research that we do in academics, but it's a sort of research. And everyday life in our case, every day we have to do research. Basically, for example, if you are starting to or thinking of buying a mobile phone, what you will do? You will talk to people, many people, and then identify which is the best one with minimum amount, which mobile we can buy, and then we will take a decision. So a decision making is based on a sort of research that we conduct. This is happening every day in our life. It has a slight different from what we do in the regular what is that academic field. What we do research is little slightly different. Basically, in our daily life, what we do is we depend on judgments. Somebody will say, "Oh yeah, this is a good one." He will say without much difficulty or much thinking, he or she will say this mobile phone is very good. So that judgment we will consider because we know the person. So that type of things will not happen in a daily in an academic research. Okay, so that's the difference. Anyway, I will enter into what is research. From there, how we will complete a research. So the entire package I have kept in 38 slides. 38 slides. I don't know whether I will be able to complete it, but still I will try my level best to complete all the slides. You can count, they are 38 slides. I will share the slides with you. And yeah, here it is. One second. So I was told to tell about research methodology, a simple introduction. In simple terms, how I can explain to you what is research. This is what I was told to. So I made a presentation based on my experience as a researcher, and I completed or supported 5 to 6 people in their research, PhD research. That means they are my students. So yeah, 6 people I have they have completed their PhD under me, and many other people, around 40 to 50 people, might have taken my help in completing their PhD research. With that experience only, I am talking about the research methodology. So it's a simple introduction of what exactly is research. Okay, so research is a systematic and scientific investigation. So it should be systematic. Step by step, you have to do it. And it is a scientific investigation aimed at discovering new knowledge. So why we conduct a research? It is to identify new knowledge. Okay. So knowledge is always spreading from all sides of it. And by through conducting a research, we are actually adding to the new knowledge. Then sometimes there will be some problems. For example, during COVID, we people were suffering from this particular pandemic, and the people started doing research on to solve that problem of that infection. Okay, so a lot of research happened all over the world, and that solved the problem by identifying a particular vaccine. Then answering questions. There will be several questions. What is happening? Why is it happening like that? Or developing a deeper understanding of a particular subject or phenomenon. We wanted to know why this time for example, in Kerala, this time there was a lot of rain and lot of calamities happened. And why is it happening? So there is a phenomena there, or a particular subject is there, which we wanted to have a deeper understanding. That time we will do a systematic and scientific investigation, a search for something. And that is called a research. Okay. And then, one second. It involves what are the various steps: collection, analysis, and interpretation of data to enhance knowledge, validate existing theories, or contribute to the development of new theories. This is what is happening on a regular basis all over the academic institutions. This is not only in academic institutions, you know that under CSIR and ICSSR, there are several research institutions working all over India. Similar to that, everywhere there are research institutions which regularly conduct research. Okay, so basically this is what is happening. Now I'll go to the next one. So key elements in this the research are: it is a systematic approach. Research follows a structured process that includes defining a problem. First, you should identify a problem, then review the literature. I will tell you why we should review the literature. Then formulating hypothesis. Hypothesis in hypothesis means what? Presumptions. Our ideas prior to the research or completing the research. Before completing the research itself, we have some ideas about certain things. Whether it is true or false, that is what we wanted to identify through a formulation of a hypothesis. So that we conducted the entire research to prove whether this hypothesis is correct or not. Then collecting data and analyzing the results. Then it should be objective and factual. Objective means based on facts, and factual, it should be factual. Research relies on evidence and data rather than subjective opinion. Somebody will say, yeah, this is because of that. So certain types of such opinions or judgments are not at all part of academic research. It can never be considered research in academics. Then purposeful. The goal is to answer specific questions or address gaps in knowledge. So purposely, we are conducting research to identify the solutions for certain things which will fill the gap in the knowledge. So we have to identify the knowledge gap in the beginning itself. How we will identify it, I am coming to tell you little later. Then whatever we conduct in a research, it should be replicable. Somebody else also should be able to repeat that research. Okay, research can be repeated by others to verify the findings, explore new avenues. So our research, even if we completed a research, somebody else also should be able to repeat it to check whether we are correct or to identify the new avenues within that research. Okay, so these are some of the fundamental basic principles behind a research. Then the purpose of research, it is to expand the knowledge, to increase understanding and contribute to the body of existing knowledge or a subject or a topic, solve problems, test hypothesis. I already told you, inform decision making. So if you are a manager or an advocate, you need to make a decision on certain things. So how will you do that? You have to depend on what has happened earlier. Where you will look for it, you will have a literature for that. So when you look for that literature, you will identify certain solutions and you will get informed out of your research for a decision making. So this is a purpose of research. And improve practices. Suppose you are doing something and you wanted to identify what are the better methods by which you can do that process. So there a research is required. Support innovation. For example, you wanted to identify as new technology for something. So what you will do, you will conduct a research. New ideas, products, or services by exploring new concepts or improving upon existing ones. Then document phenomena. Something is happening. So you have to document it. Document means make a record of that. So to observe, record, and describe the trends, behaviors, or patterns in natural or social systems. This is also a purpose of research. Then what are the different types of research? There are several people identify several types of research. Out of that, the first one is a basic or pure research. It is aimed at expanding fundamental knowledge without immediate practical. So basically, it is just knowledge only. For example, I did my research on the topic how to provide library services to the distance learners. Okay, that was my research. So it's something practical thing. How to provide library services to the distance learners. So it can be called as an applied research. Whereas you simply go ahead with collecting all the details and then come out with some new knowledge about distance learning library services. That is coming to expanding of knowledge or basic pure research. Here, research on the behavior of atoms in different conditions is a scientific research, very pure basic scientific research. Then applied research. What does it mean? Designed to solve practical or real world problems, has a direct application to specific issues in industries or society. For example, developing new medical treatments for a disease. This is what happened in the case of COVID. I told you that time during 2021, that entire year was meant for the developing of vaccine for COVID, which is actually an applied research, because there are solutions for that, many solutions, but the apt one you have to identify which one will be good. So there, the application of what they have learned has been converted into a research, and then out of that they came out with various Covaxin and Covishield like vaccines. Then comes a descriptive research, which involves observing and describing characteristics of a phenomenon or population. It does not always answer questions about why or how things happen. Example, for a survey about consumer preferences. For example, among the students of a college, what sort of mobile phones they want. Okay, so it's a sort of a consumer preference, or else what type of cosmetics they want. So a marketing research can be called as a sort of a research like that. So it identifies certain preferences and all like that. Okay. Analytical research focuses on analyzing and interpreting data to understand causes and effects, used to explain why certain phenomena occur. A study analyzing the factors affecting climate change. I already told you, in Kerala, there was severe rain last year, and not last year, this year itself. And what are the factors affecting it? So it's a sort of analysis. Continuously, we collect the temperature and also the wind of speed and the extent of rain. All these are found out and analyzed, and then we will come to a conclusion that this is happening because of this particular phenomena. So that's sort of an analytical research. Then wherever quantity is considered, it involves collecting, it is called quantitative research, involves collecting and analyzing numerical data. Okay, focuses on measuring and quantifying variables and uses statistical tools. Example, a study measuring the effectiveness of a new drug through clinical trials. What does it mean? What does it mean? Suppose, for example, in COVID, a particular vaccine was developed, and then it will not be all of a sudden inoculated or applied on entire people. Sometimes it can hamper, or it can affect their health. So what they will do, they will take it for clinical trials all over the world. Some 30 or 40 people in an area, they will collect, and then they inoculate it and see what are the changes happening. And out of those number, if out of some around 90 to 95% are having no problems in the inoculation, but it prevents the infection. If that is the case, 95% is a good number. So such clinical trials are based on numbers. They give us numbers to go ahead. So that type of research is called quantitative research. So in the case of these vaccine trials, this is what has happened. All over the world, people did it, and then they published these research reports, and out of that, people thought, okay, Covishield is good or Covaxin is good, like that. Then qualitative research, it is about the quality of items. Okay. For example, it focuses on understanding the experiences, opinions, or concepts through non-numerical data. We will ask people, for example, I started thought of purchasing a car. So I asked people, many people who use Wagoner or Wagoner vehicle, I ask them how comfortable it is, what is its mileage. So like that, I ask. So these are all actually the quality of that particular product. So it involves interviews, focus groups, and content analysis. Content analysis means the textual content will be analyzed for the answers. So exploring the patient experiences with the healthcare services. So in a hospital, people will ask the patients how good was the experience with that particular hospital. So they will say good, bad, something like that. No, that type of there will be a particular scale. Okay, that type of scale will be there. Based on that, they will say it was excellent, good, then no opinion, bad, very bad. Like that, they will say out of that you can select one. So there actually no number is involved, but they are coming out with certain textual data, and that is called a qualitative research. Then comes exploratory research, conducted to explore an issue or problem that is not well understood, aims to gather preliminary insights to guide future research. For example, investigating new social trends to define future studies. So, at present, what are the social trends in our area? And after some 10 years, what will happen? So, it's a sort of exploration. Okay, so investigate the current social trends and then uh, predict the future what will happen after 10 years or something like that. So that's a sort of exploratory research. Then comes experimental research. This is with the scientific people. They do a lot of experiments in the lab, and out of that they will come out with new molecules, new what is that, materials. So all these things. So that's why you can see nowadays the chappals come, a sort of plastic they have come out, very light and but very durable material has come, because people might have conducted a lot of research to identify such a material which is very low, very light and then long lasting. So such a type of plastic materials have come out. Now people are using that only. Croc, you might have seen that croc chappals. Okay, so it involves conducting experiments to test hypotheses under controlled conditions, used to establish cause and effect relations. So testing the impact of different fertilizers on crop yield. In the case of agriculture, this is happening. They will have two types of crops, the same crop at two places, and in one they will apply the fertilizer, the other one they will not apply, and identify to what extent the crop has yielded more when you applied the fertilizers. Okay, so there actually a number or an experiment is happening. So in chemical lab it is happening, in biological have labs it happens, especially in medicine and all of this type of but see, even though we have told that there are different types of such research, they are not watertight packages. They get involved. Or, for example, exploratory research and experimental research can come together also. Nothing wrong in it. Okay, so these types can overlap depending on research objective, design, and methodology. So we are coming to this objective, design, and methodology. We are coming in the next slides. Hope you are understanding what I am saying. Then the significance of research in academia. Why we do in academia? Academia means in our colleges and in our universities. Why do we do research? It is for knowledge expansion. Research contributes to the creation of new knowledge, theories, and innovations in various fields, driving academic progress. For example, you people are from law college. So what sort of research you might be thinking? What I should do as a research? Okay, I will be telling that. Okay, so for example, there are several cases of this what is that uh, um, at present there are several cases of POXO cases are coming up. So you can identify the patterns of all the POXO cases that are happening at one place or something like that, and compare with some other area, something like that. It's a sort of a social research only. Legal research is actually a social research. And now you can go ahead beyond that. For example, you come out with the judgments of a particular in a particular field. For example, in the case of SC, ST people, students, they are having some problems, and all of such cases have gone to the Supreme Court. All the judgments are there. So you come out of that, going through the entire documentation of these judgments, you can come out of a particular identify the pattern at which the judgments are coming up from the you will identify what sort of thinking is happening in the case of the senior judges in the Supreme Court, how they think about a particular problem. So for that, what you have to do, you have to go through the precedents. What are precedents? I think you might be knowing by now. Precedents are the reported cases, the judgments that has happened, and they come out in various journals like All India Reporter, Supreme Court cases. And earlier, no, it was very difficult for people to identify it. People come with to the library with the small citations like AIR 2009, and then some page number will be there, year, all those things together written as a citation. It is called a legal citation. So with that, they will come to the library and identify all this. So that's actually to find the precedence on a particular thing. So basically, this is for knowledge expansion, and then critical thinking and problem solving. It encourages students and scholars to develop analytical and critical thinking skills, enabling them to solve complex issues systematically. So, in a being in law colleges, you also will have to think critically why this is happening. There are several issues. No, every day there is something new comes up from the Supreme Court or the local high courts. Okay, so you can think about critically on why is it correct, or you may feel that it is incorrect, but on from the part of the judges, they feel that it is correct. So there should be a critical thinking on that. You can write on that. Okay, so that type of problem solving. Then evidence-based learning. Research supports teaching by providing updated evidence-based content. Evidence means something already has happened. So the next thing also can follow that. So when something happened there was a negative thing happen, part to that. So how to avoid that negative part? So an evidence-based content always will allow us to learn from that experience so that we can avoid certain things. So there, this type of evidence-based learning or research is helpful and fostering deeper understanding of subjects. And innovation and development. This is most important in universities. They come out with a lot of new things. Our universities, especially you might be knowing about Indian Institute of Science and all. No, they conduct a lot of research and they come out with new innovative techniques, innovations, and then it amounts to, or it helps in the development. So academic research leads to technological advancements, improved practices, and new methodologies that benefit society and industries. Basically, this is the purpose behind it. Then policy and decision making. Research findings influence academic policies and educational reforms, ensuring that the curriculum remains relevant to current global and social needs. Then professional development. For example, those who have completed a master's degree in or LLM, then you become stagnant over there if you don't learn further or you don't do a research. There it ends. If you are in the career as an advocate, okay, you can go ahead. There are a lot of things will come up. You can become a good lawyer. But if you are in the academics, what you will do? If you want to have a professional development, you have to engage in a research. Okay, so engaging in research helps academics and students to develop professional skills such as data analysis, writing, and presenting, enhancing their careers in academia or beyond. So naturally, after completing a law graduation or post graduation in law, you can be a good lawyer. Nothing wrong in it. There also you need to do a lot of research. Every day you will be presented with new cases and you will have to identify the precedents based for each of them. Whereas somebody, if comes up in the academic field, naturally with an LLM, you cannot remain as a teacher later on. So because many of the others colleagues will be having a doctorate in law itself. So naturally, you will have to think about engaging in a research and produce a PhD. Okay, and after PhD, what if there are options? There are several options. Like in international law, you can do a postgraduate, a post PhD work. You can do that, and every day you can write articles. So like that, you can get engaged. And while you do that, what is happening is you will be in touch with the latest literature. Always, you will be in touch, and you will know what is happening all in and around. Otherwise, no, you will be stuck to certain things. For example, you have become a lawyer. Right? You are involved in certain criminal law cases, and you will be struck over there. You will be just like a horse having what is that? Its eyes hidden from both sides. No, you will be going straight in that way only. Whereas if you are a person who engages in research, even while doing the professional activity, you will be in touch with all other things. No, it's not criminal law alone. There will be other civil cases or other certain social relevant things will be there which you will be aware of. Then in academia, research serves as a foundation for intellectual growth, practical application, and the continual evolution of knowledge. So you will be in the midst of knowledge. You will see, for example, I will tell you about my own story. So it's my wife's case. She did her nursing, and then she started working in a small clinic as a nurse. Okay, so after some and there was not much of a change over there. Nothing was happening. It's a small clinic, and she continued, and it was comfortable. And after 20 years, what they did is this small clinic has developed into a big hospital. Okay, and this lady was, she do not know anything happened in her field during this 20 years. She was unaware of it. So all of a sudden, the new hospital has come, lot of new techniques, new machines, everything has come back, and she could not cope up with that situation. The entire ecosystem changed. It was not a small clinic but a big hospital. She has to abandon her job because of that. Okay, so it's a serious case. In the case of a nurse, this is happening actually. In your case, you might have learned CRPC and this IPC and all other statutes, and recently they have changed everything. Now I don't even know the name of such statutes. What the new government has changed. Okay, so now you have to get updated. So for example, if you are saying a particular stipulation in a statute and its number, you have to identify the same thing in the new statute. Okay, so that type of changes are happening. So naturally, you have to get accommodated with that. There you need to do research. Okay, so when you think about academic research, it's totally different. But you have to do a research. Without research, you cannot go ahead. Then there are examples of real world research, medical research, clinical trials conducted to test effectiveness and safety of new vaccines or treatments. Then environmental research, I need not tell all these things. Social science research, then market research. That's happening every day. You will be getting calls from people saying that how did you felt when there this hotel, how was it? So like that you will get calls, or even sometimes some questionnaire surveys will come to you regarding market research, then technological research, educational research. These are some of the real world research happening around. Now comes the progress or the process or the overview of research. How this is happening? The first thing is to identify a problem, to identify a research problem. How will you do that? Okay, to identify a research problem, what is that you are going to do? Uh, First step is to identify a clear and concise and researchable problem or a question. The problem should be relevant to your field and should contribute to knowledge or practical solutions. Identify it. Okay, so in law itself, if you wanted to identify a problem, it's not you simply say I wanted to do something in criminal law. That is a broader subject. Within criminal law, what you will have to do. So you have to go deeper and deeper and identify the smallest area where you can understand, you can conduct a research. So this is the most important thing. Now, how will you identify it? It's one fine morning when you get up, you will get a research problem? Absolutely not. How will you do that? The present day generation of students, I know, they don't read much. But a research problem, to identify a research problem, you have to start with reading a lot of literature. Without reading literature, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to identify a research problem. And it is not fair to copy somebody's research problem. So you have to identify a research problem. To identify a research problem, you have to start with the review of literature. What I'm saying is, prior to starting the research itself, you have to conduct a review of literature. How will you do that? Where you will go? So here I have, even though I have shown it as the second level in the research process. In fact, the review of literature starts even prior to identifying a research problem, because then only you will get a correct problem. So where you will get it? You might be having a wonderful library over there. Already asked them whether they are subscribing to the all the journals. It's not the case reports. The law library has a peculiarity. They have books on one side, and they have the law reports. Law reports means is this Supreme Court cases or All India Radio, sorry, All India Reporter, like that. You have the case reports. Okay, earlier it was bound volumes. Every year there will be, every month I think, or every week one piece, something like that. It used to come. Supreme Court cases, such small Kerala Law Times. In Kerala, it is called Kerala Law Times. So they simply say KLT, AIR, SEC, like that they will say. So such reports actually meant only for the reporting of cases. But there is something new, other is also there. In your library, if you go there, you will see what is that? Beyond these law reports, there are journals. So journals are periodical publications which carry research reports. So go through those research reports on you will be interested in a particular major area. Within that, you read it, then you will understand a small topic with which you wanted to do a research. Then what you have to do, you write a synopsis of that. Okay, synopsis means what? You have to write a gist of what you are going to do. There you will have an introduction. You will have to write about what are your objectives. What will you do there? Then comes, you have to have the objectives and hypothesis. Hypothesis means what? Hypotheses are your presumptions. Without doing research itself, you have some idea that this is happening in your area. I know that this is happening, and I wanted to test whether it is correct or not. Okay. So the third step is defining research objectives or hypothesis. Clearly state the aims and objectives of your research. If applicable, formulate a hypothesis is wrong. It's more than that. Hypothesis that your research will test. Objectives guide the scope and direction of your research. So if you have proper objectives and hypotheses, you will be in the correct path. Actually, they are the torchlights or leading lights in research. Objectives and hypotheses. So how will you start with the research work? First of all, read literature, identify a research problem, continue with your review of literature. Then you have to define your objectives. What is that you wanted to find out? And also, what are your presumptions in that area? Okay, so you write it out, and then that is what you are calling it as a synopsis. The project, the initial project, you can say project idea. You are developing the project idea. Okay, so these three steps are there. Then comes choosing the research design. How will you do that? Select an appropriate research methodology. It can be a qualitative one, quantitative one, or a mixed method based on your objectives. The research design determines how data will be collected, measured, and analyzed. So you have to say, this is how I am trying to do that. Anyway, you need a guide there. Your teacher will be guiding you. They will say, this is the correct method. No, 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 you have to go by this, like that. You explain the research design, then they will correct you in that. Then based on that, you will have to collect the data. In legal research also, you need to collect data. For example, you have to depend on either reported cases or some anomalies in the research reports, or you have to identify people who have suffered out of judgments, or who have benefited out of judgments. Some data collection is required. So collect relevant data using technologies such as surveys, experiments, interviews, observations, and the method of data collection will depend on your research type, primary or secondary data. Primary data means what? The data that you collect, directly you collect. Okay. You are asking somebody and collecting the data. That is called primary data. When you are taking the data collected by somebody, for example, government has data. They keep the National Sample Survey Agency and all, no, they keep data. And if you take that data, that is called secondary data. So the data that you collect is either called as primary data or empirical data. Empirical data. EMPIRICAL, empirical data. Okay, you collect the data. Then defining, then after that, what you have to do is you have to analyze this particular data. Data analysis has to be done. Analyze the collected data to draw meaningful conclusions. For quantitative data, use statistical methods, while qualitative data is typically analyzed through thematic or content analysis. So in the case of quantitative data, you have to make use of techniques, like statistical techniques are there to prove your assumptions. Okay, there are several, for example, chi-square test. It's a usual test people do. Z test, t-test. If you see that, no, basically people go with the simply percentages higher or lower, like that they will say. But anyway, there are several tools in research with which we can there are several tests in research with which in statistics with which you can analyze the data. And in the case of qualitative data, there is thematic. For example, for a particular theme, there are several interviews you have conducted. The text of the interview is there. Out of that, what people say, whether this is according to this theme or that theme, like that, you can identify and then come out with your own interpretations. So that's called interpreting the results. Interpret the findings based on the data analysis. Discuss how the results relate to your research objectives or hypothesis and what they imply in a broader context. And finally, conduct wonderful research. You cannot keep it with you. You have to publish it. So to publish it, you have to report it properly, and you have to make a wonderful presentation out of it. It's not PPT I'm talking about. You have to write it clearly. Okay, there is a structure for a research report. So clearly state the aims and objectives of your research. If applicable, formulate a hypothesis that your research will test, objectives, a guide, and scope direction of your research, conclusions and recommendations, citing the sources. I'm coming to all these things. Okay, so in the research report, you will have an introduction, all your objectives, your hypothesis, the method that you have adopted, and the data that you have collected, and analyzing the data. After analyzing the data, what are your interpretation of the results, and then the conclusions that you come out, and your recommendations. All these things together make the research report. So this step-by-step process helps ensure a systematic approach conducting research, leading to reliable and valuable outcomes. So only if you do like this, people will value your effort, and then only you will come out with a proper academic research. Okay. So identifying research problem. How will you identify a research problem? Understanding the topic. You have to understand the topic properly, then narrow down the focus. As I told you earlier, if you simply say, I'm doing research in criminal law, that is not correct. You have to come down again. You have to come down. Okay, for example, you are talking about the judgment, having people, sending people to the jails, what will happen there. So within criminal law, you have to come down and then identify a simple problem, narrow down the focus, then identify gaps in existing research. What do you mean by that? I already told you there is need for reviewing the literature. Read the entire literature in the area. When you read the literature and then you will identify certain areas are missing. Somebody have not done a research on this area. Okay, all other things have been done, whereas this particular thing is missing. And that's called a gap in the existing research. So within that area, you have to identify. For example, you will say that a lot of research has happened in the case of road accidents in almost all states in India, whereas in Maharashtra, nothing very minimal has happened. So there is a gap. There is a gap of research has not happened in the case of car accidents in Maharashtra. So naturally, you can conduct a research on that because there is a gap in the research. Then relevance and significance. Why should you do, what is the relevance of your research? You have to tell it. Okay. See, by doing this, something will happen like this. So some new idea will come out and it is relevant for our area. Then its significance. How far it is significant. Then feasibility. That's very important. Very important in the sense, for example, one student approached me and she wanted to do a research. She is a commerce student and she wanted to do a research on the eating habits of children after watching the TV advertisements. So we know that every day Sachin Tendulkar will come and show us some biscuits and or boost. He will say and then ask us to drink it because it gives us what is that energy? It's an energy drink. So children will, oh, Sachin Tendulkar, so I want boost. So something like that, if there is an influence or something, that's what. So here the topic is the drinking habits of children after watching the TV advertisements. Now, is it a feasible, what is that, a feasible research topic? We are, all of a sudden, we will feel that, yeah, it's very easy, very simple. But thing is that children, they will be from some 3 years to, or some nursery children only, we are talking about 3 to 5 years or something like that. If we ask them whether they will understand things, whether they will be able to answer our queries, nothing. It will be very difficult. So we will approach their parents. Many of the parents will not never give us proper answer for such questions. They will not, they may not be knowing also. So in such cases, a study will not be that feasible. So feasibility, you should get the data. The topic that you wanted to do research should be feasible enough so that you are getting the data as well as literature. There should also be some sort of literature on that. Then only it can be considered as a feasible one. Then formulating the research question. Okay, you have to formulate a proper question out of that. Then comes the most important thing, the literature review. So when you have identified a proper topic, I told you even before that itself, you need to do a lot of literature, a lot of review of literature. Even prior to the research itself, you will have to do it. So what exactly is a review of literature? Literature review is a critical evaluation. Remember, it's a critical evaluation. You are evaluating, but critically. And summary of the existing research. Remember, it is the summary of existing research. At present, what all have been done, that research, its existing research, its summary, theories, and knowledge related to a specific topic or research question. It involves analyzing scholarly articles, books, and other academic sources to understand what has already been studied, identify gaps in the research, and provide context to new investigations. So, purpose of a literature review is this. You have to identify what has been the chunk of existing research on theories and also the knowledge related to a specific topic. Now, finding the relevant literature, how will you do that? That is why you have a wonderful library and librarian there. You can approach the librarian. He will be able to help you in finding the relevant but also you should also have that skill in identifying relevant literature. You know that almost everything is available now on the internet. I started my career as a librarian in the year 1983. 1983. That time the libraries were having only books and periodicals, print periodicals. Okay. So something happening in America or the Britain or Japan, we never will come to know at that time. 83, how it will take around 15 years for a printed item to come to our area. In the sense, they will not allow us to know about also. So it was very difficult. The percolation of knowledge from other parts of the world was very difficult. Okay. At that time, people used to do research based on the available literature in their library or nearby libraries. Now, think about the fortunate people like you. Where you are very fortunate. Why should I say that? Because everything is available in front of you on your computer screen. Within no time, you are getting it. Something published in America is available to you very next time. Okay. That and earlier, it was very difficult to get the information. Now it is just opposite to that, and it is called information explosion. Every now and then new and new literature is coming into the field, and you will be facing something called the information overload. Information overload. So, in this overloaded information, how will you identify your required relevant literature? There comes your information literacy. You need to have a skill called information literacy. It's very easy actually to be information literate is very easy. Approach your librarian. He will tell you how to be information literate, how to search for literature and identify the correct literature. In fact, by learning research itself, you are becoming information literate. So finding the relevant literature, you must be knowing that there are databases like Manupatra or LexisNexis and all. No, it is in your library. So, but you do not know how to search for the correct literature. In you might be seeing many things in Google Scholar. Okay, the moment you give a keyword, you will get 285,000 hits. How many pages you will search? You will go to the first page and then drop it. Or maximum, the people having patience will go to the next page also. Then you will leave it. Because it is giving so much of hits where you are not able to identify your literature. Your required literature will be in the third or fourth page, but you are leaving it at the second page. So you have to just get only the minimum things, whatever you wanted, no, that should be there. You don't want the 285,000, you want only 2,000. And within 2,000, if possible, make it 200. Like that, the relevant literature you have to identify. This skill is with librarians. You can talk to him. He will tell you how to search for literature, especially in the digital databases in your library. Your library will be having a catalog. Okay, there also books are easily searchable. Go and check the library catalog. You will find only minimum number of documents. It is not like 285,000. Okay. Then organizing and summarizing the literature. You read it, you write literature review for each article, then summarize it. That is what is important. Then avoiding plagiarism. Okay, avoiding plagiarism means what? Plagiarism means uh, we people have a tendency to copy from others. Okay, because since from the lower classes itself, we have been doing that. So copying and pasting in now it is easy also because Control C and Control V are in our hands. Okay, so copy paste has become very easy. But the problem is you can make a document, but there are people to check whether you have copied it or not. And that is called plagiarism. It is a criminal act because you are actually doing I should not explain what is a criminal act. Plagiarism is considered as an academic criminal act within academia. People never should do that. Okay, now I am coming to that in little later, how to avoid such a thing. Suppose you wanted to copy something, okay, and paste it into your write-up, you can do it, because to support your arguments you need to have that literature in your write-up. Okay, so you cannot avoid what is that that particular literature and its the details, that intellectual content you have to identify in your write-up. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to copy and paste it in your write-up. Okay, but there you have to say that this has been taken from that fellow, that particular fellow. It is called citation. Citation will be usually the name of the author, comma, year of publication. Within the text itself, you will provide within bracket. Okay, and at the end of the document, what you will do is you will have the bibliographic details, the entire bibliographic details, like the name of the author, year of publication, title of the article, the name of the journal, page number, volume number, issue number, all these things. Sometimes there is a number called DOI, Digital Object Identifier. These things, if you provide, you are absolved of, you are exempted of the criminal act called plagiarism. Otherwise, no, people will say that you have copied it. So plagiarism is a criminal act. We are not supposed to do it as students or faculty. We are not supposed to plagiarize. So to avoid plagiarism, you have to provide in-text citation and the bibliographic. Your librarian will be able to help you in that, to teach you in avoiding plagiarism by using reference management tools. There are several reference management tools. I think I have one more slide on that. That time I will tell you about it. Then data collection methods. I already told about primary and secondary data. Like the primary data means what you collect directly. Okay, you go and collect through a questionnaire, survey, or something like that. If you collect, it is called a primary data. But if you are using the data collected by or taken by somebody and then you are using it, it is called secondary data. Then qualitative methods of collecting data are there, like interviews, focus groups, etc. are there. Then quantitative methods are surveys and experiments, and there are tools for data collection. For example, if you devise a questionnaire, that is a tool for data collection. And if you make an observation chart, for example, you are conducting a research on the methods how the children in a Anganwadi they react to certain situations. So what you will do, you will keep an observation chart and just remain away from them. You will just observe them and then mark what is that they are doing, and it's again a tool for data collection. Okay, so these are part of the research itself. Then sampling. Okay, what do you mean by sampling? When you think about a sample, you need to know what is a population. For example, I wanted to know about the reading habits of the students studying in the colleges in my place, Trivandrum, the city of Trivandrum. I wanted to know the reading habits of children. So maybe around 40,000 students are there in the colleges. 45,000 students are there in the colleges in my place. And that is called population. The entire 45,000 students are called because they are colleges. So minimum one feature should be binding them together. All these 45,000 students are bound by one particular feature. What is that? They belong to Trivandrum and they are students in the colleges. So this particular feature makes them part of that population. But 45,000 students are there. Is it possible for me to go to all the 45,000 students and ask for their opinion on their reading habits? Very difficult, very difficult. So what I will do, I have to identify a particular a size or a sample size. Okay, sample size I have to consider. So here you can see this bigger this big is called this one is called population. You can see here 1 to 12 are there. 1 to 12 are there. White, black, like that it is there. Out of that, from each group, one is taken, one white and one black is taken, like this. And it's a the sample now contains only four items, four units. So okay, the population is actually the big thing, having a single feature in common. Okay, out of that, a what is that representative sample is taken. It's a small thing. Now, how will you calculate it? How many numbers are required? There is a mechanism for that. I will show you that in a website. Okay, I'll just show you that how to calculate the sample size. If at all you want how to calculate a sample size. 1 second. So there is a website. There are several websites. Out of that, one particular website is called a sample size calculator. So I'm just trying to show you how to do it. So here it is. You have to type sample size calculator. It is online also. Click here. So it comes out like that, and here it says sample size calculator. So open it. So find out the sample size. It says confidence level 95%. What do you mean by that? Confidence level, whether it should be 95 or beyond that, up to from 70 to 100 also is there. Okay, so here we are taking 95%. What does it mean? Suppose you are asking a question to a person in the population, or sorry, in the sample. In the sample, you are asking a question. Out of 100 people, 95 people will reply to the question that I have asked the way I wanted it. They will answer like that. Okay. For example, I have my hypothesis in my mind. So they will answer equivalent to that hypothesis. That is what 95% are expected to answer the question as I prefer. That is what it is, 95%. There can be error, margin of error can be 5. And then here I'm just giving the amount as 10,000 and calculating. So don't go for the entire 10,000 people. You can say that you need to just talk to only 370 people. 370 is the sample. Now, if I increase this 10,000 to 20,000, what will happen? There is not much of a difference. It says only 377 is required. That is what it is. That is the importance. Now, I am saying that it is 99%. My confidence should be 99%. And if it is 10,000 people, what will happen? Let us see. See the number 625. The sample size has doubled. Okay, because the confidence level has changed. So this way you can identify the samples. There are theories behind it. Statistical theories are there behind it, which proves that this is the ample sample size. Okay, so just make use of this in the internet. If at all you are doing a survey like research, you can just think about this sample size calculator. Okay. 1 second, let me bring back my presentation. Okay. So sampling. Sampling is the process of selecting a subset of individuals or items or data points from a larger population to represent that population. So sample is a small size thing compared to the population in the research study. The goal of sampling is to gather data and insights about the whole population by studying a smaller, manageable portion known as sample. So it helps in efficiency. Sampling allows researchers to save time. Otherwise, no, you will have to go to the entire people, which is not possible. So we are selecting a minimum amount. Okay. So that save time, effort, and resources by studying a smaller group. Then it represents the population. And there are several sampling techniques called I am coming to that. Random sampling, stratified random sampling, convenient sampling, and others depending on the research design and objective. I'll be telling him. So what do we mean by sampling? You have a bigger population. You cannot go to the entire population. So you will select a representative group called the sample. Okay. And that process is called sampling. And you know how to calculate the sample size. There are different methods of sampling. They are probability sampling methods on the left-hand side, probability sampling methods, simple random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and stratified random sampling. Then the non-probability sample methods means convenience sampling, judgment or purpose sampling, purposive sampling, snowball sampling, and quota sampling. I'll tell you what these one by one. Okay, so you'll understand it. So these techniques give every member of a population an equal chance of being selected. That is why they are called as probability sampling technique. What do you mean by that? From the population, any person can get selected into the sample. We are giving the probability that every person has a chance to get selected in the population. That is why it is called probability sampling. So simple random sampling. Every individual in the population has an equal chance of being selected. Selection is usually done using random number generation. For example, if 1,000 people are there, you will generate from 1 to 1,000, you will ask the system to generate a number. So a person with that number will be selected. So randomly selecting 100 students from a university student directory. Randomly go here. You need not think, just go 63, 48, 123, like that. You select from this particular list of students. Then comes stratified random sampling. What does it mean? The population is divided into subgroups or strata based on characteristics such as age, gender, or income, and random samples are taken from each strata. For example, there are 1,000 students, 400 girls, and 600 boys. So naturally, you have to proportionally take from each sample. Out of 400, how many are required? Okay, suppose your sample is 400, 40 girls and 60 boys should be there. That is the proportionate thing. So there two stratas are there, male and female. Okay, so like that, stratified. And then within that, you can select the people randomly. Ensure that such subgroup is represented proportionally. Selecting participants based on gender in proportion to the population's gender ratio. Okay. Then comes next one is systematic sampling. Every nth means, for example, every 10th individual is selected from a list or sequence after choosing a random starting point. So selecting every 10th person from a list of registered voters. That is called systematic. There is a system followed. You do not know who will be the 10th person, but still you will be using that. Then comes the cluster sampling. The population is divided into clusters, usually based on geography, and a random sample of clusters is chosen. Then all individuals in a selected cluster are selected. For example, if this is Trivandrum, I am selecting people from a ward in this corporation ward. Okay, so a ward is considered as a cluster, but it's a huge number. But I'm just saying, from that cluster, all participants should be taken. But clusters can be randomly selected. You need not go for a particular cluster itself. It can be randomly selected. So randomly selecting a few schools from a district and studying all students in those schools is called cluster sampling. And multi-stage sampling. A complex form of cluster sampling where sampling is done in multiple stages. First, clusters are chosen and then individuals are randomly selected within those clusters. Example, first selecting few cities, then randomly selecting neighborhoods, and finally selecting individuals from those. This we don't use it much. Okay. Then comes the non-probability sampling. These techniques do not provide equal chances of selection for every member. So, in a population, all people are not likely to get selected in this particular sampling technique. For example, convenience sampling. You go by convenience. The sample is drawn from a part of the population that is close at hand or easily accessible. Surveying people at a local shopping mall. So you are standing in front of a shopping mall, and whomsoever comes there, no, you are just asking them a question. So that's called convenience sampling. Or judgmental sampling, purposive or judgmental sampling. The researcher selects individuals that are most relevant to research problem based on their judgment, interviewing experts in a particular field or a specialized study. That's called a purposive judgment. Okay. Then called a snowball sampling. It's very easy. First, you use when the population is difficult to access, existing participants help to recruit more. For example, you are asking somebody about a question, and then he will say you can ask to that person also. So we will go to him. Then the second person will say you can ask to the third person. Like that, using current research participants to recruit other members of the hidden population. For example, homeless individuals. There are many people in the city who do not have homes. So you are asking the first person. The first person will say there is another person over there. He also don't have a house. So we will go to the second person. Second person will show us third and fourth. Like that, the snow is growing. The snow is growing into a ball, big ball. That's called snowball sampling. When the snow comes from the top of a mountain, when it reaches down, no, it gradually will become bigger in size. That's why it is called snowball sampling. Then quota sampling. The researcher ensures that the sample reflects certain characteristics in proportion to their prevalence in the population, ensuring 50% of the sample is female and 50% of the male is in a gender. Okay, so you are ensuring that if you are selecting a sample, it should be based on a quota. 50% should be for girls and 50% is for boys. That's called a quota sampling. Now comes the data analysis. Okay, it's the serious task. So it's the process of systematically applying statistical and logical techniques to evaluate and interpret the data in order to discover useful information, draw conclusions that support decision making. Data collection, data cleaning. Data cleaning is usually there when you collect online data. People will type in something which is irrelevant also. So you have to clean it. Then qualitative data analysis, you can go by thematic and coding analysis. I will tell you what it is. Quantitative data analysis, descriptive and inferential. And there are softwares for data analysis. They are called SPSS or SPSS means software package for social sciences. R software is there. Power BI. BI is for business intelligence. NVivo, Atlas.ti. The last two are for qualitative data. The first three are for quantitative data. Okay. Then comes the final area, research reporting. Once you have done your research, it should be published properly. Okay, you should know how to write a research report. Okay, whether it is a research article, conference paper, or a journal article, or a thesis or a dissertation, it should have a structure. Okay, and the structure is given below. I will read from the beginning. Research reporting refers to the process of communicating the findings of a research study in a structured, clear, and objective manner. The goal is to present the results, conclusions, and implications of the research to an audience, whether in the form of a thesis, dissertation, journal article, conference paper, or a report. The first part of the dissertation is a title page. Then you can write the abstract. There are usually some certificates and all are there that is meant for PhD and dissertations. Then introduction you have to write, literature review, research methodology, results and finding, discussion, conclusion. Then comes references and bibliography and appendices. If you are using a questionnaire and all, no, you have. So this is the structure. Okay, title page, abstract, introduction. Anyway, you cannot avoid these things. Introduction, literature review, research methodology, results and findings, discussion, conclusion, and references. These are inevitable in a in a thesis or a dissertation or a journal article, these are inevitable. You cannot avoid it. Okay, that's what it is. Then comes, it should be transparent. Allow readers to assess the credibility and reliability of the research and maintain it transparent. Replicability ensures that other researchers can replicate the study if desired. Dissemination of knowledge. The research reporting is meant for dissemination of knowledge. Helps share new findings with the academic community, policymakers, and practitioners. Then documentation. It is documented. The research that you have conducted is documented if you write it properly and submit it. Serves as a formal record of the research process and outcomes. Good research reporting is structured, clear, and follows a logical flow, allowing the audience to easily understand the significance and outcomes of the study. So these things you can depend on your librarian. He will be helping you to come out with proper research reports. And most of the softwares, including MS Word, have the facility to properly format your research reports. Okay. Then comes data visualization. In your research reports, you can convert the data tables into graphs. There are, you might have seen it, that graphs and, graphs only mostly. Data visualization is the graphical representation of data to help people understand complex data structures through visual elements like charts, graphs, maps, and infographics. It plays a critical role in data analysis by making it easier to identify patterns, trends, and outliers within data sets. Data visualization enables better decision making and helps communicate data-driven insights effectively. Okay, so it simplifies the data interpretation. By seeing the picture of a graph itself, we will easily identify, okay, so this is just like this. Converts large and complex data sets into visual formats that are easier to comprehend and at a glance. Helps viewers quickly grasp the trends, comparisons, and relations. So you might have seen it already. In Excel, you can do it wonderfully. Okay, Excel. Those who are trying to do such a research where you are having such data visualizations, you can depend on Excel. It's a wonderful thing. Okay. There are bar charts, line charts, pie charts, histograms. Then in graphs, there are scatter plots and bubble chart, maps, heat maps. Then dashboard also is there. You can even develop a dashboard. There are softwares like Google Data Studio with which you can develop a wonderful dashboards. So best practices in data visualization, if you say, choose the right chart, keep it simple, use color efficiently, label it clearly, and be consistent. If for the same type of data, use the same type of visualization. That is called the consistency. Okay, so that's it. This is what I wanted to finally tell. I already told you, you cannot avoid depending on the previous literature. So if you find something that is relevant for your study in another literature, you will be copying it. Control C, Control V. That's done. And that is called verbatim copying. If you are going by verbatim copying. Okay, Control C, Control V. The other two methods are, you read it. Okay, you understood this is relevant for your study. You read it and then you write it in your own language. It is called paraphrasing. And the third step is, if you have something in 20 pages, you read the entire thing and then you write minimum only. That is called summarizing. So these are the three methods by which you adopt content from previous literature. What are they? Verbatim copying, paraphrasing, and summarizing. Remember, in all these three situations, actually you are using the intellectual thought of another person. So it is not yours. In all the three cases, you have to say that I have taken from this particular thing, this particular literature, by providing the in-text citation and bibliography. Already I told about it. And it is called citing, C-I-T-I-N-G. Citing sources correctly is an essential thing. So use reference management software like Mendeley, Jotiro, EndNote, etc. That will help you in doing it perfectly according to international standards. Okay, citing the sources correctly. And research ethics means you have to have informed consent. Suppose you are using the data from people, human beings, then you have to have informed consent, confidentiality, and privacy. You have to maintain avoidance of a physical harm, integrity and transparency. You have to maintain respect for participants, avoiding plagiarism, fairness in participant selection, ethical approval. See, you cannot directly go and ask patients in a hospital about their data. So for such a research, you have to get the permission from an ethics committee. Then you are also not supposed to you make use of animals also. For that also you need an ethical committee in your institute. Then data accuracy and reporting, accountability. What is this accountability? Don't think that after conducting a research and submitting your report and you got your degree, you are absolved of our responsibilities. Absolutely not. Later also you are accountable to what you have found out in through your research. People will question you. Okay, that is what the accountability in research ethics. Okay, that's it. Have come out exactly at 10:30. I could finish. Thank you. Thank you so much. Any questions? I'm ready to answer. Avinash, I've completed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I request to participants if you have any query or a question regarding the research methodology, how to select the title. Most of these students from LLM second year, they are doing a dissertation in this year.
Okay.
So
If they have question, otherwise I can give my number. They can
other
contact me
students, if you
anytime.
have any questions regarding that research methodology. Yes, Amit. Sir, can you share this PPT? So there is one question. The student Amit Deshmukh.
Oh, I will share. Surely I
Sir,
will
can you
send
share
it
this
to you.
PPT?
Yeah. That PPT I will share with you. No issues at all. Okay. My mobile number I have given. What
So there is one question.
both are
Sasmita
same.
Shah,
All
she said,
the
what is
difference between research
different
report.
between research report and dissertation?
Yeah, it's one and the same. All are the same, but it's what is that size changes. For example, all are research reports only. A thesis will be bigger than a dissertation. A dissertation is for a PG class. This research report is more serious. So more, what is that? Explanation is required there for a PhD. So a thesis is meant for a PhD. Okay, and also you will have a serious thing over there. And basically, the term thesis is actually the concept that you are discussing. Okay, so it's one and the same in a way. Research, all are research reports only. Yeah.
So there is one student asked me one question regarding that if I copied the data from ChatGPT, is there any AI detection tools to
Absolutely.
identify the
Yeah.
plagiarism?
AI tools can help you, but it will be detected very easily with a software. Nowadays, the plagiarism detection softwares are identifying even AI content. So don't do that. You can depend on it for what is that? Getting ideas. That's all.
Because nowadays most of the students are using ChatGPT. Sir, how do we determine whether doctrine method or non-doctrine method is most useful for our chosen?
Can you explain what exactly it is? Doctrinal method? I don't know what it is. Should I?
Saloni, unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So
really,
by doctrinal method, I mean the use of literature, digest, books, commentaries,
okay.
libraries, all that.
Okay.
Basically, an armchair research.
Okay.
And by non-doctrinal, I mean data collection, any kind of empirical research, sampling, questionnaires, interviews.
Okay, okay. I never heard of it. But anyway, that depends on the topic that you are doing the research, no? If it requires data collection, you have to go for that. So it's depending on what the topic that you select. Any method is just like that only. The type of objective that you have, no, based on that, the method will change.
Because due to time constraint, most of the students are using doctrine method for their research
Naturally.
because they don't have a time to collect the data.
I can understand. But if they can go to a jail, understood, talk to the prisoners over there and come out with some relevant things, no, that would be good rather than just sitting at home and going through the what is that, the literature alone. They can go to the jails, no, because they are all under custody because of certain criminal activities, and under which criminal activity they are there and how long they are being put in jail, and then what is the reason and the extent of what is that, prisoning given to them. All these things you can identify and come out with certain generalizations. Okay, I have given my number also. If somebody wants to contact me, they can contact. Okay. So, Vinesh, thank you.
And
I
other
think no more
questions
questions. Yeah.
from the participants? Is there any question? I think so. Students satisfied with your session, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. Saloni?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dr. Gopakumar, sir, for your valuable and beautiful contribution. You gave us a very beautiful presentation with an in-depth and insightful session on research. And your valuable contribution has led to a great addition to our knowledge and learning and understanding of the subject, which was very essential at this point. If any students have any queries remaining, they can ask. Okay. Just an instruction to all the students that you have to submit the feedback forms at the end of the session. And now I call upon Ms. Sana to conclude the session with her vote of thanks.
Thank you, Saloni. Am I audible?
You are audible.
Thank you, sir. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the beautiful thing about learning is that nobody can take it away from you. Good morning, everyone. I am truly humbled to be part of this wonderful session. I am assured that all our participants have also loved this session. First of all, on behalf of our NSOT Law College family, I express my sincere gratitude to our respected guest, Dr. Gopakumar, Head of Knowledge Resource Center, Digital University, Kerala. Sir, the way you explained each and every point, for instance, lawyers' key role is also to do a research properly. Sir also emphasized on purpose of research, significance of research, identifying the research problem, how to calculate the sample size, sampling techniques, research process, and much, much more. So, thank you so much. The elegance of your explanation of everything, I need to mention my deepest sense of appreciation for that. Thank you, sir, for guiding us and for giving us your valuable time to make this session successful. Secondly, I also like to extend my thanks to our principal of NSOT Law College, Dr. A.M. Sabdi sir. Also, I would like to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to the coordinator of today's webinar, librarian of our college, Mr. Avinash Salunke sir. Thank you so much, sir, for organizing this wonderful session. And also, last but not the least, a very big thank you to all the participants for for being sincere and patient throughout the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gopakumar, sir, for your nice session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.